Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, July 18th, 2024. I've had more than a few people message me in the last month or so asking me if I was watching the newest Star Wars streaming series on Disney Plus titled The Acolyte, which has had, quite an interesting discussion around it since I think episode 3 or 4, wherever they brought in the and I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I don't think at this point, with the amount of posts I've seen about it, it could be the Sith witches, which apparently some people got very upset about for, in some cases, very, very different reasons, none of which I could care any less about. I really don't understand why people got so upset about this, outside of the stupid reasons. But when I was asked about that, my response has been pretty much universal to no, I'm not going to watch anything until I know it ends, until I know what the finale is like. And that really is kind of a two-part answer. One is, does the series have an ending that is self-contained? Because at this point, and I've said this before, I've done fives, more than a few on this, I don't trust any of these services to keep any series going, whether it's good or bad, or does good numbers or bad numbers. And I know some people will say, well, we really don't know what the numbers are on some of these series, but yeah, that's true, but you can definitely tell that there have been successful and well-loved series that are canceled nonetheless. And fundamentally, I just don't trust any of these services to keep these things going, especially if they're really good and they look like they're expensive. Well, they might, one of the few exceptions to that might be the Amazon Lord of the Rings series, only because they've already spent so much money on it. At this point, they can't just give up on it. They have to at least be able to produce, they've committed to 5 seasons of that? That might be a rare example where you could rely on more seasons of it, but even then, do I have any faith that it will end in a satisfying way? No, I don't know. I've heard opinions all over the place on that series. I luckily have no big tie to it, so I'll probably watch it assuming it does not tank the very end season finale or series finale. But The Acolyte was kind of the same thing. I went, okay, they're setting this way before, in between the events of the High Republic and Old Republic, which is good. They're trying to get away at least partially from doing the same old stories and the same old timelines we're aware of. The premise and some of the episode synopsis sounded interesting to me. Again, I have no problem with Force Witches. And apparently the season finale came out in the last week or so. It must have, if not in the last couple days. I really don't know the timing, because I've just seen things about it everywhere. And I've looked at 6 or 7 reviews of it. And in general, the consensus seems to be that it was either okay or terrible. That's the range. I haven't seen anybody saying it's exceptional. So that's fine. That's all just, opinions. It doesn't matter to me. People will interpret different things differently. But in reading it, it appears that they are setting up future seasons. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to watch this because it doesn't have what appears to be an entirely self-contained ending by any stretch. And nothing I have seen so far indicates that there's only like a little bit of cliffhanger, but it's mostly completed. It sounds like it's a setup for another season at least. And we don't really know if it'll get that because the response to it has seemed mixed. I haven't seen just universal acclaim that, in a similar way to, say, Mandalorian Season 1, which was probably the last time I remember a modern Star Wars anything coming out and everybody generally reacting very well, including me. I still have my problem with the fact that we don't see his face, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize the quality of the show. But of course, even that series seemed to go and veer way off into, well, let's just do nostalgia now stuff by season 3. And so I'm not really sorry I jumped off that bandwagon. I don't feel like I've missed anything. And that's kind of my same approach to Acolyte. I don't necessarily take bad reviews to mean anything, because I certainly like things that other people think are terrible. But until the series seems to indicate it has a finale, a true series finale where everything is wrapped up, and until I know what the nature of that wrap up is, and I do think, even if people didn't generally like it, there are certain things that I can figure out from reviews whether it indicates that there's serious issues or not. But regardless, for all we know, this thing will never get a season 2. You sort of assume it will because it's Disney and it's Star Wars, but that's not guaranteed. We may never see it. Certainly, Book of Boba Fett was set up for a second season, and due to the response to that, it never went anywhere and probably never will. It may become part of Mandalorian somehow, but I'm not even sure of that. So, as far as The Acolyte, honestly, the reviews don't even matter. It's what has trumped everything has been my inherent distrust for streamers to keep series going, and until something with that changes, then my general response to this question is going to be the same. Yeah, let's see how it ends later.